pedal in the lane, moving fast, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
What is up, everybody? Oh, I am botching the intro here. Oh, man, I literally am having a brain fart. This is what happens after 1,240 some episodes of this, you guys. But, we are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in the transportation industry. You guys, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take this information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Thursday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. And, Midwest versus everybody is all I'm going to say. These guys are out of the great state of Iowa, and their product that they have out there, I have could have used them on a couple of my vehicles growing up, smoking a couple of white-tailed deers, driving out there and everything. And we're going to talk about some grill guards and everything, and building up a business out of the great state of Iowa. So I got my friend Nathan Holt on the show today. Nathan, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. Great to be here. And Midwest versus everyone, that's a great way to start.
Dude, absolutely. And in typical fashion, I fumbled, man. It's football. It's about football season. I fumbled the intro there. I haven't done this in a while, though, man. But I always like to show the real side of business and like creating content and everything. And nobody's perfect at the end of the day. So I just roll with it. And I've literally built that brand off of just keeping it real with people over the years. So, but hey, man, I want to jump right in with XGuard, man. How this company get started, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. So XGuard, as the actual company and as what we are doing now, has been going since 2009. Originally, our head of engineering worked in a fabrication shop, actually out of the sprawling metropolis of Maple Creek, Canada. I'm 99% sure no one has ever heard of that.
I haven't.
But it's a town in Saskatchewan, Canada. I believe. Honestly, I'm still trying to learn here. So they started out as a fabrication shop, and then began doing full aluminum moose bumpers, full replacements. And they did that for pickup trucks, and they did that for the Class 8s. And in selling these, when they had moved down here to Iowa, they began realizing there's a real gap and a real need for a well-designed, well-structured tube bumper, something that doesn't force you to take off your OEM bumper, and then if anything happens, you're going out and you're trying to buy a new OEM bumper and put that on as well. So that's how the XGuard came about, and we built our first one back in 2009, spray painted it white, and put it on a truck for demand. That's how we've got started, and it's just evolved since then into what we cover now, including the Class 8s and all the way down to some of your pickup trucks like the F-150, which we just launched.
Yeah, no, dude, I love it. We used to call them cow catchers on the front of our trucks growing up there. And, you brought up like with the moose guards and everything. I mean, I don't think enough people can actually put it into context of, because like growing up where I grew up, man, you got a lot of logging trucks, grain trucks and everything. And they're running, especially during harvest season, right? Like they're running 24/7. I'm not going to say, and I'm not going to speak for any companies in particular, but a lot of those guys don't like to stop, right? So it's like if you smoke one of these things, you need something to kind of keep going out there. And if it, takes out, because again, man, like fixing a radiator, and we'll get into all of that stuff out there. But like for a lot of individuals who listen to the show, they may not have grown up in an area where deer, cows, anything like that is really a thing until you're out there driving in the middle of the night. And I mean, man, I smoked my fair share of deers growing up, and it's not fun at all. And like the worst part is just the mess it leaves all over there. And, but I love the story of, as a founder myself, Nathan, I love hearing how businesses get started, right? And it was like, man, we had to find something. We spray painted it white, slapped it on the front of a truck, and boom, that's where it goes, right? And I'm sure that the plan has changed so many times over that, and then the design and everything, because again, it's like you get that prototype or you just get that ball rolling, and then you start to see like, hey, this is how we improve, this is how we get better, and this is where we kind of evolve, right, as a business, right? Because nobody's got it all figured out. And so it's like, as you guys are going out there and really, because you're on the marketing team as well, right? So like you have a unique perspective of getting out there and, talking to fleet managers and drivers and users of your guys' product out there. So it's like, what's been some of those biggest challenges that you're hearing? Is it like a weight thing where like, how much weight is this going to add on to my truck and stuff like that?
Well, there's always going to be a couple thoughts that come to someone's mind immediately when they think of purchasing a guard. So it's, what's the downside? And sometimes in thinking of the downside, you forget the incredible upside there is to having something that is going to protect the front of your truck, which easily a simple front end collision can cost you $10,000 and upwards. Mm-hmm. So just directly answer your question about weight. That is one that comes about. You're really adding about 200 pounds to the front of your vehicle, which often in worrying about weight, switching to super singles from duals will save you a similar amount of weight. And that's how, when fleets are cutting down weight in every possible way they can, that is one way. But weight subjection, we don't encounter as much as the continual incredible value that protecting the front end of your truck with X-Guard brings.
Yeah.
So that's one, but it's not common anymore.
Yeah. And, Sonny brought up a good point where it's just like, one of those out there about the replacement cost, right? Like the front end damage and everything else. So it's like, how does that address it, right? Like how has that design shifted over the years, Nathan, to kind of get better as the OEMs have changed the front ends of their trucks and everything to make it more aerodynamic and all of that?
Yeah, so directly to that point about making trucks more aerodynamic, we continue to evolve our design, and our design has evolved to be closer to the truck, to be more conformed. So it really complements the design rather than interferes or interrupts with the incredible engineering feats that they've been able to accomplish in the engineering teams of the OEMs. And our guards have actually been tested by MVTS, or Mesilla Valley Transportation Solutions. So they do true real world testing, and they're an incredible company. They do an amazing job out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. And they tested a couple different designs of our guards. They tested the lower one, which we call the 125 Gen 3, the newest guards that we have, and then also the XG 150. So that's going to give you full front end protection. Mm-hmm. So at the highest level of protection, we saw an overall fuel loss of about 4 gallons per 10,000 miles. So when a company is running, 100,000 miles or so, they're really looking at about $200 in lost fuel economy. Okay. And that same aerodynamic statistic that we are affecting is often similar sometimes to the side mirrors on certain trucks that are currently running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, again, if you look at it where, obviously I'm not advocating for anything to happen to any trucks out on the road, but it's like, if you look at that $200 save, cost difference out there with fuel over time, what is the added savings that comes along with it after the installation on there, and like damage protection and everything else? And I mean, dude, I see all these videos out there on social media of these guys parked at truck stops and dudes backing into the front end of their truck, busting up headlights and stuff like that. And it's like, it's the cost benefit analysis at that point, right? How much are you going to protect it inside of there? Because it's like, you don't have to be running in the upper Midwest or in the mountain regions to encounter, animals on the road. It could be something inside of a truck stop out there where someone's going to back in, or you're getting loaded and somebody comes and they can clip the front end of your truck. And based on what I'm seeing here in the research that I've done, that is, the installation of X-Guard is going to severely reduce any potential damage that would be happening in those instances.
Absolutely. And it's the fact that they're occasionally called deer guards, I think, that has really created the perception that it's just a deer guard. Yeah. When in truth, just animal collisions in general are only actually less than 2% of reported collisions a year.
Oh,
So
really?
that's just a fraction of the amount of collisions, and often it's the vehicle to vehicle. So some of those small parking lot incidents, or when you have the yellow deer, as they call them, the bollards.
Yeah.
It's those that and snowbanks actually cause more damage to a lot of fleets than animal collisions ever could. So when you have something like that happening at any point in time in any situation, the simple parking lot incidents, we've actually seen some fleets have a decrease in their replacement parts cost by 97%. So it was when that fleet went and dug into their data and they saw that these collisions are being reported because they're just small, but we're still having to pay for those replacement parts. And in looking into it, they were seeing a 97% reduction in the first year. So I'd say that fixed objects are the greatest hazard to trucking companies and to owner operators alike.
Yeah, it's because I look, because my dad was an owner operator, right? Like he drove for 40 years. My family's been in, I mean, actually they started in Iowa back in the 30s. My great grandparents started a trucking company out there. And, I look at it, if there's any, like, I understand any aftermarket investments and stuff like that come along with it. But it's like, if I'm looking at I got to keep my truck running as much as possible, right? So like preventative maintenance, that comes to mind here with it. And, I just saw a buddy of mine owns a fleet as well. And he had some front end damage done that now they had to tow the truck back. It was like $10,000 some dollars to tow the truck. And then the damage that comes along with it, the replacement. And I'm not saying like your guys' product here, obviously would have alleviated any of that, but I look at it from like a preventative maintenance savings and keeping my truck on the road, right? Because as my old man always used to say, Nathan, if my wheels ain't turning, I ain't earning. And it's like, what are those little things that I could add on to my fleet to minimize, right? Because I want to stick with that word, minimize the risk of it, because you can have everything lined up and things can still happen out there. But it's like, how do I minimize it? And then like, what preventative maintenance savings have I seen then from putting something like this on there and adopting the X Guard?
Yeah, that's a great point. The wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. There might be a body shop that's making a little bit off you there, but I always go back to the saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And being able to protect yourself from the moment you leave a truck lot is going to be one of the greatest assets. And the greatest investments you can make into protecting your asset and into protecting your fleet, making sure you're maximizing your uptime, maximizing your earnings, and minimizing or just eliminating altogether downtime from the collision. So that's been a big shift we've seen, is fleets that are wanting to extend the life of your truck. So it's not just having just a few year life cycle, but you want to extend it. You want your trucks to be on the road as much as they can and maximizing your uptime. So putting guards on has definitely been one of the best investments we've seen a lot of fleets make, and owner operators as well. You can't feed your family because your truck's on the side of the road, or you get hit with towing. Hopefully you don't get hit with any sort of predatory towing. We end up paying more than your load would have paid if you delivered it on time, and then you possibly lost that potential as well. So a lot of, you really get peace of mind by being able to hit the road and hit the road safely, get to your destination, get there on time.
Yeah, and safety is of the utmost importance for the overwhelming, I can't say everybody, but the overwhelming majority of people that I know inside of this industry. Speaking of that, like what feedback have you received from the drivers, right? Because like we could sit here and talk about fleet managers and guys who are at, as the driver said, the desk jockeys of the world. The guys who are actually out on the road though, what feedback are they giving you guys on what this product has done? Is like, what are the pros and the cons of it?
So one of the biggest pros, and we had an amazing story come back to us about a guy who actually his name was Vincenzo, and he had actually got hit by a drunk driver while driving. And these are his words, but he said, X Guard has saved my life. And we've heard that multiple times. And just what a guard will do, or what a well-created, good, strong, durable guard will do, is protecting their trucks, but it also protects them from dangerous situations. As you mentioned about we were talking off air about getting stranded on the side of the road. That's such a dangerous situation at night. It's such a dangerous situation in the broad of daylight. Mm-hmm. And being able to make sure a truck driver is safe at all times. And they say, I feel safer when I just have it on. I don't feel like the vulnerable front end of my truck with all those vital components I gotta have, got everything intact. I feel safer being out there. That's one of the biggest pieces of feedback we get. And the other one is, man, just knowing how much money I'm saving every mile, it just feels good. So that's we mostly hear pros. The sentiment model is very positive, especially for owner operators. We see it more and more. They're realizing the value in that.
I look at it as, because I think you want to think that the OEMs are rolling these trucks off the line with the most efficient safety measures and everything that are coming on out there. And again, with all the sensors and stuff that are on these trucks right now, it's, that's one thing, but it's like, dude, for me, a piece of, I know it's not steel, but I just look at it as like the front end of these trucks, like something as simple as that. I think that has a higher safety rating. This is Chris Jolly's opinion only. I feel like this has a higher safety ROI than the majority of those sensors, right? Because the sensors let you know that something is there. X-Guard stops something from going inside of your radiator, essentially, at that point.
Yeah, well, it's as I say, collision mitigation software, right? Collision mitigation systems, and that's meant to do everything it can within its power to avoid a collision, to be able to predict that. And of course, this is where the creation, or the greater utilization of AI has become so useful. But with all the sensors and with that working, a lot of them are unable to see animals, for example. They'll see the metallic objects, they'll be able to see that and prevent that. But having something that never takes a break and never requires electricity is going to be the 24/7 front end protection. And that's going to definitely mitigate the greatest amount of damage you can.
Mm-hmm. So what is they like? Do the guards interfere with tow hooks, engine access, or anything like that? Walk us through, how does that, if you're out there and you need to pop the hood on your truck, what does that look like?
So actually, we don't. The one you mentioned about tow hooks, we do mount into the tow hook receivers to make sure we are mounting to the frame of one of the strongest part of the truck. So you're maximizing the strength that's offered. Mm-hmm. And with regard to the electronics, the technology that is just coming out, I mean, it's just been amazing, the leaps and bounds that trucking technology has taken on. But we actually complement that by protecting the software, by protecting the radars. Mm-hmm. And so a simple collision mitigation system radar can cost people thousands. We often hear about $2,400, $2,200 is about what we keep hearing is a common amount that they'll be paying. But we work with the OEMs and we test our guards on these trucks to make sure that we are complementing the software. We work with it. We don't interfere with it. So by adding an X-Guard, you're adding an extra layer and an extra level of protection to make sure the headlights, and especially on these, talk about the new generation Cascadia, the Gen 5, has sensors in the headlights. So we worked with them and actually designed a guard that protects those headlights, protects the sensors, while not interfering with the amazing technology that they added onto that truck. We're doing the same with Volvo's new trucks and Mack as well.
Mm-hmm. What's a typical maintenance routine? What should a driver be doing? I want to talk specific owner operators. What should they be doing to maintain this, right? To extend the life cycle of that product on the front of their truck.
So definitely make sure you're always raising and lowering it safely. Make sure you're always ensuring it's latched completely. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned about being able to open your hood. Well, all of our guards are latched. They have latches and they're hinged, and that makes sure that it's a simple two-sided latch. For the vast majority of our guards, our LT series have a single hand latch, but you fold the guard down and then you can reach up and grab your hood and pull it open. You can close it just like normal. It's not going to interfere with your maintenance at all. So making sure you keep those, double check those latches before you ever drive, and make sure to always check to make sure they're kept tight. So we have a very simple latch, really. The technology that goes into it's very much very not simple. And we've definitely done years and years of research on it, but being able to keep those tight as well, so you don't ever have to worry about any rattling. There's no sort of driver noise and there's no sort of continual wear in there. Also, making sure that you're coating. If there's ever any sort of a chip in your coating thing, just touching that up. We do offer a touch-up kit, and just keep it airtight, just to make sure your coating keeps your guard from rusting. So those are two things I would say. And when you hit a deer, rinse and run, wash it off and keep it looking good.
Obviously you guys have competitors out there in the market. What could somebody do from a, an unbiased standpoint? What are some of those comparisons out there? Because obviously price is a thing, but like functionality of it, what are some of those things that they can look for to stand out? Like which one is more safer for themselves to be using?
So first off, that's a great question. That's always one you're going to hear. And we really don't like to ever look at our competitors. We like to just we compare with ourselves. We're comparing every day, our culture of continuous improvement. We're making sure we always focus on us. But the construction of a guard is going to be a very, very critical part of it. And ensuring we use a high tensile steel, and we coat it in a very thick coating. We have we have what we call the Evercoat. It's a PVC coating, and it is going to deflect rather than chip, as in if you have any sort of a powder coat. So making sure you understand how your guard is constructed is going to be number one, ensuring you have a true high strength steel. And then within that, how is it designed? Is it designed to fit your truck to complement your collision mitigation software? And then how does it mount? Because you're only as strong as your weakest point. So we have very high strength mounting brackets that mount to the tow hooks. Ensure we're going to give the maximum amount of protection and keep the maximum strength in the product. So I'd always encourage everyone to look at the construction and then functionality of any guard. Simple things like a latch can be one of the greatest pains to deal with if you're in the middle of an ice storm, which from being in Wisconsin, we know from being here, if your latch ices up, you're really not able to get to it easily. And certain latches aren't so easy to use. That's why we make sure ours are continuing. Our lever lock is a great simple lift to the latch. And if anything ever happens, you're able to still easily move. If it does get frozen, it's still very simple to continue to work that latch in that situation.
So do you guys have product lines that align with your major OEMs out there, Peterbilt, Freightliner, International, Western Star, stuff like that? Or is the design, has it evolved so much to where essentially most trucks' front ends are the same? Because you had mentioned that you mounted inside of the tow area up front there, where it's kind of like a one size fits all at this point. Or is everything designed just based off of the aerodynamics of the trucks? You have to have multiple product offerings to kind of align with that.
With the advancements in technology and of course the advancements in vehicle front ends, we do have multiple products. So we do have some of our guards will work on multiple models. Mm-hmm. Our standard XG line works with the vast majority of the Class 8 vehicles. There are certain models like the new generation Kenworth T680, the new generation Freightliner Cascadia, mm-hmm. the Gen 5, mm-hmm. and then also the Volvo VNL that have very specific designs. And for us to make sure we're working seamlessly with their technology and to be as well fitted to the truck as we can. We do have specific variations of our design that do directly complement them. So as technology has evolved, we've continued to evolve along with that. And we have come up with some more specific vehicle specific models.
Mm-hmm. So are you guys working, like if you guys are going out there, I mean, obviously you guys are probably not selling just direct to trucking companies. Like you guys are probably going to dealerships and manufacturers and stuff kind of across the country. How do you support them? Like, is there like training that you come in and, or like, what does that look like? Is there any like warranty, anything like that for people?
Yeah. So of course, when it comes to our dealers, we do all of our sales through our dealer network, mm-hmm. Across the US and Canada. And that's how we do all of our sales. And supporting them, we do have an inside sales team and we have an outside sales team that will do trainings. We, of course, do some virtual trainings. We make sure we're explaining how the product works, how it's compatible, and how to make sure you're giving your customer the best solution mm-hmm. for their fleet or for their truck, if it's their own truck. So we have a team that works in supporting and training at all times. We do have a 1-year warranty against manufacturer defects. And we are always making sure we talk also to the fleet, to the end users. While we don't sell directly to them, mm-hmm. we do want to make sure we understand exactly what is going on, how we can best support them.
So how does this product evolve, right? Like what, obviously without giving any proprietary, conversations and stuff away, but like, where do you guys see this improving as advancements in technology continue to roll out? How does a company like XGuard stay ahead of the curve to ensure that you're not designing a product that might be obsolete in 12 months, right? I think that's every manufacturer's nightmare out there.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate. We have an amazing engineering team. We have a complete team here, and they work directly in collaboration really with a lot of the OEMs. So OEMs will actually come to us with their newest vehicles, and we'll work directly with, of course, like with their data, but then we also do real life testing with these manufacturers to ensure compatibility, to ensure fitment. And I mean, right now we've got new designs for trucks that aren't out yet. We're making sure we always stay ahead of it. Our team is always very proactive in making sure we're staying ahead of that at all times.
So is this something, and again, if you can't answer any of these things, man, just say next question, but is this something that you can adopt and put sensors inside of, again, to increase the front end visibility out there, and those alarms that go off if you're getting too close to something? Is that it might even be a part of it already, but is that something that could happen? And again, if this is something you can't talk about, just say next question.
So all of the sensors, we make sure that an owner operator or fleet doesn't have to tamper with or doesn't have to make changes to the vehicle as it is. We want to always work with the OEM software, and that's why we work directly with them. So there isn't a need really to move those sensors. You never really want to be moving or messing with the vehicle sensors. These guys put a lot into it and making sure everything works seamlessly from their camera system to the sensors. But adaptive cruise control and the stop and go systems that Freightliner or that Kenworth has, those are working perfectly with our current grill guard designs, and that's because of how we design them. So you don't need to actually make adjustments to them, and we'll continue to evolve our guard designs with those as we're going.
Mm-hmm. And so, and obviously so you guys aren't just with semi trucks, right? Like I was on your guys' website, you guys have stuff for like RVs, ambulances, like literally you guys have an entire product line for almost anything out there except for like a sports car, it seems.
Yeah, one of the most common requests we keep getting is minivans, but we haven't quite gone down that route yet. But currently we have products that support the 8 major OEMs. And as you mentioned, RVs, a lot of RVs are built on the standard, like in a Freightliner M2 chassis or international chassis, or a lot of those other ones, and that have grown more recently into the pickup truck. So that's from your half-ton pickups up to your 3/4-ton, 1-ton pickups. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those chassis will also be used on different ambulances, different work trucks or flatbeds, different haulers. Those are all going to be vehicles we support because we're mounting directly to the chassis. Mm-hmm. So those are the products we're currently supporting, and we're continually adding. We've got a new launch coming out in exactly 14 days. We've got another launch coming for some more vehicles, which will be revealed at that time. And the Ford F-150 is the most recent one. And as America's best-selling truck, we really owed it to the people that have continued to ask. And as our capacity has grown, we've been able to actually produce and to support and to give a truly protected product to that market as well. And we're going to keep going. We've got the vans, the work vans as well, which we've had for years, and we've adapted that design more recently, and we'll continue to protect as many vehicles as we can on the road so they can keep rolling and keep prospering.
Sonny has a question. Do you guys make custom bumpers?
So regarding custom bumpers, we don't actually have a lot of custom work we've done. In the past, we have done some that will work on a specific vehicle or in a specific application. But because of our manufacturing capacity and because of how we generally focus just on what we're doing. There's a lot of amazing fab shops that we would recommend. But following up on that, we do have some options for accessories. If people do want to put lights on, if people want to put any sort of additional signage on their vehicles, we do offer light tabs. We have license plate brackets, which we sell which come standard with all of our XG guards. And we do offer that so you can accessorize it, truly make it your own, as we've seen a lot of guys do.
Dude, I love it, man. That's awesome. Nathan, I appreciate your time, man. That's going to be it for today. Dude, how does anybody reach out to you guys? How does anybody find out more about how they can get in with XGuard, purchase your guys' product, be in contact with you if they have any additional questions?
Absolutely. Well, best place to start is our website. That's xguard.com, and that's ex-guard.com. Or give us a call. Call our main line, 888-902-2777. we've got a great team here, and any questions you have will get answered, and we'll make sure to get you in contact with the right person. And very likely the dealer closest to you is a dealer of XGuard already.
Perfect. Nathan, I love it, man. Thank you so much for joining me today. I like talking about this because it's like, man, I can only talk about freight sales and what's going on in the freight market for so long. And it's like, dude, there's other things in trucking. And this was awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. But that's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show. And if you're feeling really ambitious after this one, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Hey, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Hey.